Welcome back to Area 2. As we noted in Area 1, the conversion of Constantine changed everything. And I hope you've noticed some of the changes in your readings in Area 2. No longer is Christianity the persecuted minority, surviving and spreading despite long odds. Now Christianity is a powerful force, linked to a powerful empire. And even when the empire collapses, Christianity continues to grow in the West, in part because powerful men assume leadership in the church and keep it moving forward. In fact, as I think about the 1,000 years between the years 500 and 1500, and how the church advanced during those years, there are two constants whose presence gave great stability to the church during that time period. Allow me to say just a couple of words about these two constants, and not that these are the only factors to consider, but two important ones that I think are worth mentioning. The first constant is the office of the Pope. While history reminds us that some popes were corrupt, greedy, or of questionable character, it would be unwise to see all popes in that light. Many were men of strong Christian faith who wanted to see the gospel proclaimed and the church continue to grow. The most exemplary was a man by the name of Gregory. History refers to him as Gregory the First, and sometimes you might see him referred to as Gregory the Great. Gregory had been a monk and only assumed the office of the Pope after great hesitation and much counsel. When he became the Bishop of Rome in 590, Rome was in shambles and was under attack from various Germanic tribes. Gregory not only brokered the peace that kept the enemy from invading the city, but his leadership brought great stability both religiously and politically to the church. Gregory introduced a new kind of chanting into Catholic worship, what we refer to as Gregorian chant. And at this point I would like to offer you an example. No, never mind, I'm not going to do that. Gregory was important because he promoted religious education for the clergy. And most important for our purposes, Gregory sent out many missionaries throughout Western Europe. He sent missionaries to Britain, the furthest reach of the church at that time, and encouraged Bible translations where possible so that all people could have the Bible in their own language. Many other popes shared Gregory's vision, eventually sending missionaries to the New World in conjunction with Spanish and Portuguese exploration, and to India, China, and Japan after sailing around the tip of Africa became possible. The second constant is the importance of monastic communities. Christianity grew and spread during the Middle Ages, largely a result of the multiplication of monastic orders. Many of the great missionaries and evangelists during this time period came from among the monks. And nuns to a lesser degree, although if we're being honest, during this time period women's roles were much more limited than they have been in more recent years. The ideal monk had felt the call of God to live in monastic community, free from worldly pressures and expectations. He committed himself to prayer and the spiritual disciplines, living in simplicity, and pledged to a life of celibacy. Monks preserved and translated the Bible. Because of their commitment to God and to the Catholic Church, monks were seen as spiritual leaders, and the church's missionaries and evangelists often came from among their number. Whether they were Benedictines or Franciscans, Dominicans or Jesuits, Catholic monks were at the front as the church spread throughout Europe and later across the globe. And even though he was technically what we would call a Celtic Christian rather than a Roman Catholic, Patrick used monastic communities with great success in his evangelization efforts in Ireland. And I hope you've been able to read and see some of the ways that Patrick used and valued monastic communities in his evangelization efforts. While corruption sometimes reared its head even in monastic communities, sometimes monks were guilty of monkeying around, most monks were committed individuals whose humble service helped the church expand and grow.